Hello and welcome to another edition of Tundra Talk. I'm Brandon Rooker along with Aaron Wagner, and today we discuss the Milwaukee Bucks. Yay!
That's
Yeah.
right.
Anyway, so as of now, we're shooting this on 3/13/2012. Bucks are 18 and 24. Aaron, they're in playoff contention, that's for sure. But what do you have to say about the Bucks? 6 games under 500.
It's the same thing. Mediocre. Too good to be in the lottery.
Yep.
Not good enough to be a contender. And I know they're playing without Bogut, but if Bogut was playing, really, we'd be,
Maybe 5 10 games up.
yeah, exactly.
Point is, it's still not a down.
Throughout the season, you get your Jennings will show you signs where you're like, wow, we got it on. And then he'll have a night where he'll just
disappear for a couple days
disappear, or he'll chuck up 20, 25 shots,
miss most of them.
or he'll just shoot. He won't shoot it all. I don't know if he's stubborn, pissed off at the world, or what. But I mean, if you would look at their roster right now, and you had to come up with a couple players that you have to keep for the next 10 years, I can't think of the only one possibly. Maybe Jennings.
Yeah, maybe.
Ursan's playing good in the last.
Yeah, I think Ursan's
2
been on an
weeks.
upward trend for the last couple of years. I really like to see what he's doing. I like Luke Richard Bamute as a defensive specialist.
Yeah, that's the
But
thing.
that's the thing. Yeah, you're right. Because he's not a guy that you're going to build around. He's an asset piece. He's a very good asset piece.
Yep.
He's a guy that I really like in there to help you defensively. But yeah, I mean,
What would be ideal for him is if he could. Trying to compare him to Bruce Bowen. Bruce Bowen was locked down, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't, that good offense, but he
Right.
had his corner 3 spot where if he was open, knockdown. It was going in.
right.
Luke Richard
Doesn't
doesn't
have
have
that
that. He doesn't
spot,
even
yeah.
have even just a mid-range hot spot.
No. No.
It's hard to put up. I understand you got to play defense to win, but you got to score points too.
Right, and that's the problem though, is that when Bogut's healthy, let's say, the Bucks are a fantastic defensive squad. They just don't have any guys that can score. Here's the thing:
Exactly.
if you're going to hold a team to 85 points, that's great, but make sure you score at least 86,
Oh,
and that's what the Bucks don't do.
no.
They're scoring 84 or less,
Exactly.
mostly less. So the fact of the matter is, I mean, I don't see anybody on this team that's really a can't miss guy, like you said.
So right now, everyone's up for sale if they want them. They're
Yeah.
available for trade. I would
Yeah.
say that even Bogut, right?
Yeah, I love Bogut, don't get me wrong, but first of all, the guy can't stay healthy.
Well, exactly.
And second of all, even when he is here, I mean, if you can let's maybe make a trade where you can get a top 3 pick, top 5 pick in the draft, maybe it's worth it. The way the Bucks are right now, they're stuck in mediocrity for a long time.
Mhm.
Because they do have some adequate talent, which means they're not going to be 10 and 72 on a regular 82 game season, or anything like that. But at the same time, I mean, if they're 500, that's about how they max. So they just, I don't know. It's a really tough situation. I'd much rather be a team that can't win a game to save their life, because then at
Exactly.
least it's like, oh wow,
Exactly,
we have
yes.
hope for the draft, but we don't have hope for the draft.
Skiles has to go, right?
I wanted Skiles gone 3
Yeah.
weeks ago last Thursday.
I wanted him all at the end of
Yeah.
last season. Yeah.
Like you just.
Oh.
I
And
don't
at this
like
point,
the
I wouldn't.
guy. I don't.
John Hammond can go too. Quite honestly,
Yeah, I'm impartial on him. I don't really care either way. I just want somebody who can help us win.
I mean, the best move he ever made was not signing Charlie Villanueva with the long-term deal.
Yeah.
That's what the highlight of his
Yeah.
in drafting Jennings. Well, yeah, anyone could have
Yeah.
done it.
Yeah, I mean, Jennings is a decent pick, and the thing is we don't know where Jennings is going to do. At the moment, he's averaging 19.1 points and 5.7 assists, which are decent numbers, but I'd much rather have a point guard who scores 10 points a game and gets 9 to 10 assists, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jennings is kind of, he's elusive. I don't know exactly what he's going to be in a couple of years. He's, like Aaron said before, he's a guy that some nights is the best player in the world, and other nights can't hit a shot to save his life, and you need consistency, which is something that pretty much nobody on this team really gives you. So
I think they got to find an identity.
they do. They
You know,
do.
even with Bogut there, sometimes it's like, yeah, we're going through Bogut. The other times it's like, no, we're going to run with Jennings. Make up your mind. If you're going to run with Jennings, get players around him. I've heard Bogut for JaVale McGee on the Wizards. He's a bit of a loose cannon.
But
He's
he's
funny.
got
He's
talent.
funny to watch.
Yeah.
He has potential. If you don't want to build around Jennings, and you
Trade.
probably don't want to build around Bogut. You gotta
Make a move.
start from fresh.
Make a
'Cause
move.
Realistically, Bulls will be the
Yeah.
top of the division for the next 10 years.
Yeah, and as far as this year even goes, if the Bucks do somehow make the 8 seed and the Bulls have the 1 seed, I don't expect to see 5 games in the series. I don't. I think 4-0.
It might get 5.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Jennings is
We'll
bound
see
to,
about
Jennings
that.
is bound to have a 30-point game. One of them.
Yeah, and then Rose will have 35. And
Yeah.
Bulls will take it. I don't know. Yeah, the point is 4 or 5 games and they're done. So I don't know. And you know what, people? It's kind of one of those half-hearted victories, or one of those what do you want to call it, like an emotional victory or whatever, where you would get the 8 seed and get in the playoffs. But I think it's really detrimental because it just hurts them more in the draft.
Yeah.
And they're not a team that's going to contend for a title. So
I mean, even if they miss the playoffs by 1 game, right?
yeah,
They still have a chance for a number 1 pick. They get in that lottery. I mean, the year they got Bogut, they weren't even supposed to.
right.
They were what?
Right.
10th. They were supposed to be 10th pick around that area,
Something that range, yeah.
and they got that.
So yeah, I mean it's
This is a deep draft too, so you get to the point where you're just gonna, start unloading for draft picks.
and maybe that's a good idea. I mean, you got to do something because the Bucks are they're terrible. They're not a good team.
I don't want to watch. I honestly don't want to watch them sometimes.
Yeah, I mean I force myself to watch them just so that somebody does. You know?
It's just
Which is sad to say, but it's kind of true. I mean, and I think it starts with Skiles. I think Skiles has to go first. I think that's the way you start this thing. But you know what'll happen this year? They'll probably make the 8 seed in the playoffs, and then Hammond will sit there and be like, well,
he
we're
needs to
doing
go
something.
too.
We're doing something, and
Oh.
Skiles is on the right track, and then we'll keep him until we're in for another craptacular year of Scott Skiles basketball. And I mean, Skiles is not a terrible coach, my opinion. I feel like he's a guy that can be an adequate coach, but I don't want adequate. I
Exactly.
want to win. You know what I mean? And I just don't think that this is a team for him to coach. I'd love to see somebody else come in and try to take it.
Yeah, I think he's a coach that can turn a team around.
But heal his limitations.
With defense, make play defense.
Yeah.
But it's you can play pretend GM on video games. I don't even know what you do.
Yeah, with the
You
Bucks
know,
team.
What would Jennings get you? Would it get you a mid to late first round pick?
Maybe.
Maybe,
I
exactly.
think your best shot is to try to couple him up with Jackson. Because Jackson's another guy who hasn't done anything. And it's kind of Skiles' fault and kind of his fault, kind of
Yeah.
both. You know what I mean? God knows there's been a big rift between those two this year. But
Yeah.
I don't know. So, Aaron, what are you going to do for next year? If you're the Bucks right now, let's say that you've given up hope on this season like we have. What do you do for next year? Is there anything you can do to try to make yourself a better team and have a better chance?
Well, I'd probably call Orlando, and right now Dwight Howard is their general manager, basically. I'd say you want Steven Jackson. Perfect. You can have him. Only thing we want is a first round pick.
I like it.
Orlando will be a playoff team. He'll be in the 20s,
Yeah.
Get him out of there, get contract. So that's a first round pick, right? Bogut, I put a for sale sign. Any takers? I mean, honestly, I heard him talking last night on the news. They asked him, "Are you injury prone?" He goes, "No, I can understand if if I come into camp out of shape, or if I pull a muscle, or this and that." I'm thinking, are you crazy? He understands he's been hurt, but he's saying they're freak injuries. Yeah, they're freak, but they keep happening.
Yeah.
He is injury prone.
He is.
I don't know what you can get for him, but you try flipping him for a first round, or even just a bunch of young players. I'm trying to think of teams that. I can't even think of.
Yeah, I hear you.
How many teams are going to want an injury
Prone center.
Yeah, he's got, I think, 2 years left on his deal. After this year, maybe. Him, yeah, maybe.
It's hard to say.
I guess with this team, I don't know, build around Jennings. I might trade Bogut for JaVale McGee. McGee can run the court. He's a goofy kid on the court. Oh, you could YouTube goofy plays by him or something. But he has lots of potential. He's high energy. He could run the court with Jennings. And hope to get the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Get Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
Or even Kid Gilchrist.
Yeah. I like Kid Gilchrist.
I'm a big Kid Gilchrist fan, but man, 5 years from now, I bet none of the players on the team will be on it.
No, and that's a good point. It's hard to say. So
You look at you get Tobias Harris and Larry Sanders.
I like Harris. I think he has potential, but you're right. He's a project as usual. And Sanders.
Exactly. Exactly.
Barry Sanders has hustle, but no talent. So
Okay, I'm trying to think. When's the last time we had a good
topic
draft?
about the Bucks. Oh, good
Good
draft.
draft. Okay, you got Tobias Harris, Larry Sanders.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're more excited about their potential.
Yeah, but you're right now.
Joy Alexander, Jean Leon, he didn't even want to come here.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a bust.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
just been
They drafted Moncrief back in the '80s, right?
they traded draft rights to get Ray Allen. That was probably and trading him was probably with the
the
downspell.
dumbest thing they've ever done.
You know, ever since then. Yeah.
Yeah. The Bucks are a struggling franchise that are stupid. I hate to say it that way, but it's true. They're
Yeah.
a dumb franchise.
Yep.
They make stupid moves, and it results with stupid teams on the court. They're stupid as in untalented. So, yeah, I got nothing more to say, especially nothing positive.
Yeah.
I think for a Bucks fan, unfortunately, at the moment, you're
Find a
suffering
different team to
through
cheer
the
for
futures,
the next 2-3 years. Honest, I mean,
or longer, and maybe the team
Yeah.
won't even be in Milwaukee in 2 or 3
that's a
years,
very
to be
solid
honest with
point
you.
too.
So anyway, yeah. Aaron, do you have any more exuberating words of wisdom on the Milwaukee Bucks?
Same old, same old.
Struggle through, Bucks fans. Struggle through. For Aaron Wagner and Brandon Rucker.
Go
This is Thunder
Celtics.
Talk.